first of all, how do we know that we reach any state? You see, we obviously experience something very deeply in a way that becomes undeniable for us. But when we don't just experience something very deeply, but it becomes our state of being, which means that it's no longer an experience that comes and goes. It's not about intensity of experience. It's not about special experiences. It's about a total shift of your identity. A total shift of your identity. It's like, think of it this way. We normally experience ourselves as a certain person, right? It's hard for me to see if we are, if you can understand what I'm saying, because it's a bit dark over there. But you're getting closer? That's kind. Thank you. Oh, like that. Okay. But what if the answer is long? Okay. So we normally experience ourselves as a certain person. A certain person that has a point of beginning, right? A birthday that we celebrate very proudly and happily often, and probably an end date. And then there is the story of our life, the story of our person. And we are deeply identified with it. This is our identity. This is how we experience ourselves. We experience ourselves as a sort of momentary me that appears and unfortunately disappears. This is our world. This is what fills our mind. This is what fills our heart. This is what guides our choices in life. This is what defines our values. Our personal perspective, private perspective becomes very, very meaningful. How we experience life, how we come into contact with others, and what means to us as happiness or fulfillment. So now imagine all that simply washed away. Simply washed away. Like dissolving, just like we do in the empty body, melting into light, dissolving into emptiness. It's not so difficult, because, as we said yesterday night, if you simply look into the mind, you look into the nature of your own mind, you suddenly realize that it is actually empty. It is like the night sky. It's not. It's only because the mind identifies, attaches itself to certain thoughts and certain feelings and certain memories, that these identifications, they result in a certain sense of personality, person. Eventually you get a sort of cluster of thoughts, emotions, memories, hopes, desires, and this cluster gives you a very satisfying feeling of me. Yeah. So then imagine all that as a result of profound insight that is at the same time extremely easy and accessible, you simply look into yourself and you realize that it's just empty. It's just space. If you don't work really hard identifying with this sort or other, it's empty. And then you realize that the person is just a story we are weaving around an empty mind. We are making many efforts to sustain it, but it is insubstantial. This sense of self gives us a feeling that as if we have a solid existence, as if we have our own life that we hold, we possess. We have our body and our relationships and our experience, and we don't even admit that we have no idea even how we came to this place, you see? Do we know? I don't know how I am here, you see? Not in the retreat. Suddenly this body appeared, and this is because I'm like a flower of the universe. I don't have my own existence. My existence, so-called my existence, belongs to the universe, to the great existence. So then when there is such a profound surrender of both heart and mind, it's just like and I have to return to this classical image because I don't think there is any better metaphor than that. It's just like you were a drop of the ocean walking around proudly separate, thinking that it is of drop essence, that this is what it is. And then suddenly a great force is sucking the drop back into the ocean, and then it dissolves, and then it no longer knows where it is, what it is, because it is inseparable, you see? So ask this drop after it has become a part of the ocean, who are you? And it will say the ocean. But it will not even say the ocean, because if you are the ocean, how could you even recognize yourself, you see? You understand? You can only know that you are a drop, because you are isolated, you have limits. But what if you are the totality? So this is enlightenment. It's just a drop being sucked powerfully into the ocean, no longer having its own existence, or rather finally realizing that it has never had its own existence. And amazingly enough, all this is followed by uncontainable bliss, because it's so painful and sorrowful to be a drop, you see? Because you feel that something is wrong. You feel that a drop cannot function as a drop, you see? And I think this is our suffering. We simply feel that awkwardness of existence, and then we try to fill this emptiness with more story, more thinking, more attachment, more identification. We make so much noise so that we will not need to face this existential question. So how do you know that you have reached this? It's the moment when there is simply no self-consciousness. Not consciousness, or you're not becoming unconscious. Don't worry. No self-consciousness. It means that there is no person in the space. That is a limited awareness or consciousness. It's just you have been absorbed.